stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's Donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. The longest week of our lives is starting to come to a close. It has been a bizarre long week in Notre Dame land. That's how I'll put it. It is, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on with the build-up to this game. Eric, I see you in here, the Ohio podcast. We're going to react to it. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about that. My guest appearance there yesterday. And this is, good to see my brother in here. Eric was a good moderator last night. Chris is committed to playing the tough guy character. There was some of that. And I don't know how much of that good cop, bad cop thing is intentional and how much of that was Chris, what he really thinks, or how much he was digging in. And so I don't know. We'll get into some of that. Some of the things I learned going into enemy territory. I think that's very helpful. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do that. So let's get into that. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Eric, I think I know what you did last night that people don't like. You host an Ohio State podcast. Is that the answer? Why can't that just be the answer? I think it's that simple to a large extent. You're the enemy. And so people are predisposed to not like it no matter what. I think that's a part of it. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you could get it. If you don't want to see John's face, nobody blames you for that. How do you think I feel? Call in lines 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, brought to you by SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Promo code NDNATTY, capital letters. Get yourself half off as we ride through this journey and then react to whatever's going to happen Monday night. All right. My brother says, I heard Lou was looking for Eric last night. All right. Where to start? I can't be the only one. I just want the game to happen. I'm just to the point where whatever this is going to be, I'm ready for it. Like good or bad or whatever it's going to be, I'm just ready for it. And I'm just ready to see what this is actually going to look like with this build-up and both fan bases going at each other and everything like that. Sean Duffy, great job on the Ohio podcast, John. Chris was being a D-bag. I kept giving Chris out. And I kept telling him, I think I know you well enough to know that I don't think you mean some of the stuff you're saying. And I still think that. And so it was just, maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe I'm off, but it was interesting. And so here's how I'm going to start. And then I'm going to go over my appearance last night, why I did it, what I learned from it. And then we'll go to the callers. We have a bunch of them. I have a couple chats to do, and we'll go from there. Also, we are doing Saturday Night Live, just so everybody knows. One last Saturday Night Live. That should be really interesting. Well, it's the big show. I watch when I need to get my mind off football. I bounce around. Sometimes it's UFO stuff. Sometimes it's Finding Bigfoot. Sometimes it's like mob documentaries, like historical war stuff, like whatever it is to get away from the football. And I watched these old WWF documentaries, and the Big Show was in there, Kent, and I just started laughing because I'm just picturing every day you put, well, it's the Big Show. And it's funny because I'm about as big as the Big Show's right arm, right? It's just so funny to me. It's so funny to me. And by the way, talking about UFOs or whatever, I saw something out the window last night. It was either a UFO or a shooting star. It was the weirdest thing, you guys. I'm sitting there in the front room where I usually do late at night. Everybody else is asleep. It's me and my stupid neurotic brain I can't turn off. And I'm laying, I can't go to bed early. My brain's always moving. It's like 1:15, 1:30 in the morning. I'm laying on the couch. I got these big windows looking to the north. And I look up. I don't know why. It was a commercial on what I'm watching or whatever. And I just happened to look up and I see something white racing through the sky. And in like, not like a plane. When you see a plane just going, flying through the air with blinking lights, and it's like predictable and kind of, it's going fast in the air, but it looks slow to your eye how it's going across. Bro, it was white, bright white, and a million miles an hour up, and it was gone. It was a shooting star or a UFO. I don't know what it was, but I know I saw it. I'm not saying it was an alien or something. It could have just been a random shooting star. Maybe it was Frank Leahy flying into town for the game. I don't know. But it was, Tex ND. It's weird that you said that. Right after it came out of my mouth, you typed it. I saw something weird. Maybe it's a sign, but there was some huge white flash flying through the air a million miles an hour over the horizon, and it was gone. So I don't know what it was. I don't think I was near the SpaceX thing or any of that. I don't know what it was. Could have just been a random shooting star. Maybe it's a sign. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, enough about that. So let's get into this. Let me check my call log here. It's not too bad yet. So I'm going to go over a couple of my thoughts from last night real quickly, and we'll get into this. So 8:00 Saturday Night Live. It'll be the last one. The Saturday night shows, you guys know how they get. They get kind of interesting. People get a little loose. They're having a few drinks, whatever. It's going to be a wild one, but we're going to do it. It's one more night. Prepare yourself for Ohio State people to pile in, okay? It's just the way it's going to go. Okay, so let's talk about last night. I'm not good to look at these two. I got Andrew in here. I got Pat in here. I got Always Irish Senior in here. The whole family's here. It's great to see. I'm never scared to go into enemy territory. Okay. I'm never scared to go into enemy territory on one of these shows. I always feel like I'm going to be able to hold my own and not get, backed into a weird corner or, what I mean, get set up. I always feel like I could hold my own. And I'll be honest, I trust Eric to be fair, or I wouldn't deal with Eric, right? Like with the Ohio State thing and the ways some of the fan base stuff goes, like I wouldn't do it unless I trusted who I was working with. And I genuinely know Eric as a person, and I knew he would at least be fair to me. And so that's the reason why I invited him on my show, and then I went to their show. But I'm never afraid to go into enemy territory. I have fun with that kind of thing. And really, I wanted to just see what that ecosystem's like on the other side. I'm in Notre Dame land here. I'm doing all the Notre Dame stuff. I really wanted to see what it's like getting into that ecosystem and how the chat goes on a live show with the Ohio State people and all that. And so the first thing is, thank you for all the Notre Dame people that popped over there. Kind of tried to throw in some Notre Dame stuff, support your boy in enemy territory. That meant the world to me. And I understand a lot of Notre Dame people wouldn't watch any of these shows because they're, it's the enemy and you don't want to hear them, whatever. I totally understand that. Totally understand that. And so thanks to everybody that was over there. And I learned some interesting things. And a lot of the Ohio State people just don't think this game's going to be close. And they're confident in it. they're confident in it. I think Eric is giving Notre Dame a little more credit, definitely more credit than Chris. He predicted 40-something to 17, 40-something to 14. Talking about it's going to be the same thing as when Notre Dame played Alabama in 2012. It's going to be one of those where, like, you don't belong at all. But I was genuinely surprised to see score predictions from the chat: 45-14, 45-6, 42-7, 42-3. There was a lot of those messages and those chats coming in, and Chris, the co-host, is on that side as well. Andrew Gilmore, thoughts on 40-year-old men who wear jersey? I'm not a jersey wearing guy. It's not my thing. I've never been a jersey wearing guy. Maybe if I was big and had muscles, I would, but they don't fit it. They don't sit on my skeleton frame right. Like, whatever. I'm not a jersey with another guy on the back type of guy. It's just not my thing. It doesn't fit me right. I was a little surprised to see the prediction of absolute blowouts. If you told me from the Ohio State side, I respect Notre Dame grinding it out to get to this point. They're going to play us tough, but I think eventually over 4 quarters, our talent and depth and health are going to propel us to get, a 10-point lead and maybe grind out Notre Dame at the end and win this one. If you told me that, that's completely reasonable. It doesn't come off to me weird at all or anything like that. Seeing so much of the it's not even going to be competitive at all stuff, it's a little surprising to me. It just is. And they're confident in it. I don't think they're just saying it to say it. I think they believe it. But the majority of those predictions on that live chat last night were not close. Blowout. Okay? And so here's the thing, man. It's incumbent on Notre Dame to do something different. There's no point in arguing back and forth and asking for this respect and this and that. Like, it's just not going to happen from a lot of these people. And so the only thing you can do is to go out there and play a good game and piss them all off. And you know what else too? It's like, it isn't enough at this point to just be like, okay, let's not get blown out, but only lose by 7 or something. Like, no, you need to go win this thing and shut these people up. That is the only way. The only way you're going to be able to do any of that. It isn't like a close loss and then pat on the back. They got the championship, but at least you didn't get blown out. We need to be past that point. You need to find a way to go win this game and shut these people up. It's just, that's what it comes down to. There's no other way. There's no other way. And you're not going to argue with them and get them to change their mind and show respect for Notre Dame when they don't respect our team or whatever. There's only one solution to this, and it's winning. It's winning. Okay? And so, I don't know. I'm all for all of the overconfidence. I'm all for all of the pressure on Ryan Day and their team. And I understand why they're favored. They should be favored. My whole theme this week, I've been saying Ohio State should probably win this game, but Notre Dame refuses to lose. And I told those guys on the Ohio podcast last night, I am proud. I will proudly go down with this Notre Dame ship this year with this team, this group of guys, and whatever. I will proudly go down with that ship like the captain of the Titanic. I'll hold onto the wheel and go down with it with no problem at holding my head high. Unlike a lot of, unlike a lot of Notre Dame teams and coaches or whatever, I'm happy to hitch myself to this wagon. And if we go down, we go down. And so it's just really, really interesting, some of the confidence levels I'm seeing. And so whatever. The other issue that I had is, callers, I'm coming to you. Chris, totally hating Freeman. And like saying he's a bad guy and a traitor to Ohio State. And he was mad that Freeman was recruiting for Notre Dame on a radio station. he's saying he really doesn't like Marcus Freeman at all. And that's interesting to me. He's like, to me, he represents everything good about college football and the coaching business. Marcus Freeman embodies what this should all be like. Classy, respectful, a legitimate family man, leader, mentor of young men, all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting to go over there and see, some of their thoughts. And all the frustration I'm hearing for Notre Dame fans, whatever, we're not getting any respect. Whatever. It's not going to happen. You got to force it. You got to force it. And you got to find a way to win this football game. And so, again, I would have no problem if the narrative was, yeah, Notre Dame's going to give their all, but I just don't think they quite have enough left in the tank with the injuries and the top line talent to get it done. I get that. I would have no argument with that. It's some of the extra other stuff that I was a little surprised by. Savage Dog, let's go Irish. Dog Nation pulling for you. Appreciate that. All right, let's do a couple chats. Phone lines are not that jam-packed this morning. If you're on hold now, you're definitely going to be on the air. And then don't forget, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. The 80s guy did not care for the podcast last night. Glad to see them acting like Ohio State's already won the game. Listen, I don't expect Notre Dame people to have fun going into enemy territory. I get it, but I thought it would be something good to do, a stand-up thing to do. Domerguy 88, listening to a lot of OSU pods. They're all so confident, give Indy zero grace. One guy on the Buck Nuts morning called Notre Dame Iowa on steroids. I've seen all of it. Bucks by 1 trillion if ND plays man. Bucks by 21 otherwise. This game won't be close. We'll see all the excuses Tuesday morning, I promise. Anders talking about the old days with the Belldozer, and when you get down there, I remember the Belldozer from 2012. That was a hazy night. Long night for me. Wasn't it like Halloween, right around Halloween 2012 at Oklahoma? Probably the best one in the Kelly era, if I'm being honest. It's hard for me to think of one in a bigger moment in those conditions that he had. There were so few big ones that he wanted to be able to pick from. Commander Luke, I thought that Chris guy was very disrespectful to the main man. I don't know if he was playing a character or not. $5 from the Blue Wolverine. Love the mixed panel shows. Very entertaining. Yeah, Blue Wolverine was over there trying to be a neutral arbiter between two groups most of their people hate. John Monty, the full Monty, $5 hour. I'm so tired of everybody's not giving Indy a chance at all. I hope this team knows this. Go Irish, just win. Yeah, this is one of those where you're not getting a lot of respect heading into the game from the other side. You're going to have to go take it. And you're going to have to make them have a very frustrating night. Like there's no other answer, you guys. Notre Dame's got to go do the work. One more time, Notre Dame's got to go do the work. Get this thing over the line and ruin these people's lives. 80s guy, $5 hour. Ohio State fans think they lost to Michigan on purpose. How much more delusional can you be? I don't know about on purpose, but it's like that's where everything changed. Like that, their Michigan game is kind of being looked at the way that our Northern Illinois game happened, right? Where like the absolute worst case disaster happens and then everybody grows from it, learns from it, gets better, finds another level, and then you don't lose again, that kind of thing. So even though ours was week 2 and admittedly to a less talented team than Michigan and not in a rivalry game, that was the moment for us that kind of turned the switch and everything changed for Notre Dame moving forward. For them, they're looking at Michigan as that. And also when I bring up like to Chris, you guys struggled with Michigan and they bottled you down and held you down. Why can't you think Notre Dame could do that? But it's like, well, you're not Michigan. And Ryan Day just has this Michigan thing he can't get over. But if you don't have a winged helmet, none of that's going to apply. Like, so his angle is that Michigan is so in Ryan Day's head, that gets him all messed up. And if you're not that, then that's not going to be an issue, right? And so I don't know. We'll find out. $20 holler from my lawyer in Michigan. The difference this year compared to the last 2 Ohio State games is Denbrock and Leonard. ND 24, OSU 21. Thanks a lot for the $20 holler and for being the resident lawyer here, making sure we stay above board with all laws and regulations. And so, listen, there's not much else you can say. It's down to Notre Dame going in there and just showing that it ain't going to be what they want it to be and what they think it's going to be. And if you're able to do that early and keep this game frustrating for Iowa State or whatever, hold the score down and make it more of a fist fight than a boat race. If you're able to do all that and drag that out into the second half, go ahead and win the game. Go ahead and win the game. And if they end up burning us in man coverage and all their app and we can't guard them or whatever, then good for them, man. Good for them. Like, I'll just say they had a better roster and they were playing better, man. Like, it's not that hard for me to say that. And my prediction the whole time is, my line is, on paper, Ohio State probably should win. Games are not played on a database. They're played on a field for a reason. And so anything can happen in one game. This is not the NBA Finals where the better team ends up usually winning over a 7-game stretch. This is not that. This is not that. Anything can happen in one game. A football isn't a round ball. That thing bounces weird sometimes. So all the pressure, put all the pressure on their side to deliver this and get it done and all this. I'm fine with that. And it's Notre Dame's got to prove them wrong. Swan Dong, $5 holler. Do you think Gray or Moore will be on Smith? I feel like Gray will have 5 PIs if he's on Smith. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do. Is just straight up man cover it, like one guy shadowing him enough? Or do you need to like do something else to make sure there's somebody over the top? Or Uncle Al. This is where these coordinators come in. Uncle Al's got to, it's not an easy task, you guys. Uncle Al needs to be able to not only stop the run and make sure that doesn't get going, but then you got to defend all those receivers and you got to come up with a good plan and trust your guys. You got to trust your guys. And then flipping it to the Notre Dame offense. I believe I was asked on the show last night, John, do you have any worries about Notre Dame moving the ball and doing all? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I kind of do. I'm not above admitting that. Yeah, I do. Ohio State has a really, really good defense, and there are times where our offense gets bogged down, and it's just not in rhythm, and it's just hard to get things done and sustain drives. I am not acting like that's not something I'm thinking about. Yeah, I'm worried about Notre Dame moving the ball. You got to have a really good plan, and you got to execute. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Notre Dame moving the ball. I'm just saying, man, it's okay to admit there are some things that you're concerned about in this matchup. So this is where those assistants, particularly Al Golden and Denbrock, you had a little bit of time here. You got to figure something out, and these guys got to be able to execute it. It's that simple. So really interesting being a guest over on another show and seeing kind of where the most of the fan base is at. And it's up to Notre Dame to prove it wrong, man. They are really, really, really confident. Give them a really frustrating night. Give them a really frustrating night. All those people tuning in expecting a blowout and to pop the champagne at halftime and all this stuff. The best thing you could do, frustrate them. Frustrate them. The longer this game drags out and that score keeps down, the better Notre Dame has a chance. I don't know any other way to look at it. But either way, I'm never afraid to go into enemy territory. And, I just thought it was an interesting experiment. And I did the best I could to represent the ND cause. Okay, we got a bunch of calls here. Let's go through it. Everybody trying to keep your thoughts to the main point here so we could kind of move it along here. Try and do the 5-minute limit and see where we go. Andrew, what's going on? Welcome to the show to start off on a Friday. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, John? I'm excited for Monday. How about yourself?
Andrew, I'll tell you, man, I am, it's, the Pink Floyd song, Comfortably Numb. I feel like I'm starting to get into that after this playoff run where my anxiety is like my nerves are shot and I'm running on fumes emotionally. Like maybe that's a good thing going into Monday. But this is it, Andrew. All these years, all the debates on the summer night shows over the year, all of it. It's all for this moment. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I know. Hey, you know, I think if this was like a heavyweight boxing championship, we're the guy at the table who's not talking smack. Because you just got to be a silent assassin at this point. You know, in some ways, with all the injuries Notre Dame has had this year, should they even be in this situation? But they got there, through toughness and through some like gritty wins, and so I think it's kind of comical that these Ohio State guys are talking so much smack because we do feel and look like the team of destiny by going through the SEC champ, and by the way we came back and beat Penn State. But I think this game is pretty simple in terms of if Notre Dame, and I think we're going to find out kind of early in the game if Notre Dame's going to compete for the win, and it's going to get settled up front in the trenches like most games are. If on the defensive side, if Notre Dame can't get a push and get pressure on Will Howard, it doesn't matter if we have Ben Morrison or Cam Hart back there. Ohio State's going to score some points. We got Leonard or Leonard Moore and Gray, and so it's a tall order. And I would even say that maybe Jordan Clark might have the toughest assignment because they move these guys around a lot and put really good wide receivers in the slot, and he's got to cover both ways. So it's really tough. So like nobody can cover wide receivers all day, and we saw against USC if we don't get a good pass rush, a good passing team can move the ball on us. So it's really dependent up front. But the good news is, like, I don't know. I'm not an expert on Ohio State football, but I have read a lot of articles, and they're missing some pretty key offensive linemen, including, I'm from San Diego, including the transfer they got last year from San Diego State, who was on pace for an all Big Ten type season. So, can they block Golden schemes with a bunch of backups and then moving like a guard to a tackle? So, I think that's the advantage right there. Can Al Golden, which he's been the best D coordinator in this playoffs, can he manufacture some pressure on the quarterback?
Yeah.
If he can, I think it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I think that's that's fair. Andrew, what about offensively for Notre Dame? Like I was asked last night directly, do you have any concerns about Notre Dame sustaining drives against Ohio State? And my honest answer is, yeah, of course I'm concerned about that. Like, yes, like I'm not going to lie because I'm wearing a green jacket. Yes, that is a concern of mine. And I'm being very open about it. What do you think the key is for Notre Dame to be able to sustain some drives, keep the defense rested, keep their offense up the field, like off the field? What do we need to do offensively? How do you see this?
Yeah, well, I think I choose to believe this, that Anthony Knapp gave us a great performance for true freshman. He really did. And I think he should be really well liked by all Notre Dame fans, and he should certainly be in the running to be a starting tackle next year. But Joe Rudolph is a two-time Joe Moore Award semifinalist, and along with Denbrock, who it's not his first rodeo, they really felt that Charles Jagasaw was our best offensive lineman. And they've thought that for since the Sun Bowl last season. And so if he's at full strength, which he looked to be at full strength in the second half against Penn State. In some ways, I think it's better that Jagasaw is probably going to be the starting left tackle going against, arguably the best defensive line that we've gone up against. He was supposed to be our guy. And so if the name of the game is running the football in Ohio State and controlling the clock, even though Anthony Knapp did a great job in run blocking, I really like the idea that we have Charles Jagasaw. I think the big unknown is what's Rocco Spindler going to give us, because he's just he kills guys when he's healthy. So, but if he's not healthy, it really hurts us. So I think that's a big unknown. But I like the idea that Jagasaw Thackeray is supposed to be our best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, it's going to get determined in the trenches. If Notre Dame is getting negative yardage or getting no yardage on first and second down, we're forced into 3rd and long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not a good situation for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So we need to be getting a good push up front. And then I put it in the chat, and I want to come back to this. I think, going into the season, everybody was just praising Mike Denbrock, saying how important of a hire he is. And I think to a certain extent, he's done a really good job for Notre Dame. But I would argue that Golden, who's a coordinator, and I always consider special teams its own thing. So Biaggi's almost like a coordinator. I think they've largely carried Mike Denbrock. I mean, I know Notre Dame had an offensive outburst in the second half against Penn State. But I'll tell you, I was pretty disappointed with the play calling on the second to last drive, where we ended up having to punt it back to Penn State with a minute to go. I mean, I thought that was our chance to win the game. And so we were really lucky to get an interception and get the ball back. But I just think this is on Denbrock. We're paying him top dollar. This is it right now. You're going up against one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, one of the best D-lines in the country. You've got to dial something up a little bit more creative than I think we saw against Penn State. Like doing traditional dropbacks and important time of the game when the DNs are pinning their ears back trying to rush the quarterback. I just did not love some of those play calls. So I'm putting this on Denbrock. I mean, Al Golden's gotten us to this point. Marty Biaggi, who's just done an amazing job with special teams, has gotten us to this point.
Yeah.
This is the time where Mike Denbrock really has to, pull out some tricks and manufacture some points, because 13 points, 17 points are not going to get this done.
Yep, you're right.
I think it's got to be in the high 20s to win this football game.
Yeah, that's what I see
on
too.
The defense and the special team scoring a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yep, that's what I I totally agree. I see that too. If that score gets up past like 30, even the high 20s for Ohio State, it could be a problem for Notre Dame, unless you get short fields and a couple tip ball intercept, and a special teams play. But you can't count on those things, even though Notre Dame was leading or second in the country now in turnover margin. It's still like you can't bake those in and count on them every week. So I'm with you. And this is what you paid these coordinators this big time money for. That's why you went and got Denbrock, is to prepare and put the guys in a position here to succeed in this type of moment. Anything else on the way out, Andrew? I'll be Saturday Night Live if you're around.
Yeah, I just think they've got to play almost a perfect game. I think that this perception that Will Howard's not a good quarterback, that the stats really just don't back it up. I think he's second in the country in QBR. I went back and looked at some of the most important games they played all year. He had a really good game against Indiana. He had a good game, against Oregon, even when we lost to Oregon. I think the one game where he really didn't play well was Michigan, but I just don't know how much you can take away from that, because Michigan was literally built to beat Ohio State. I mean, it took 10 years for Harbaugh to build that team to get to that point. So I think that basically, I think he's a good quarterback. So I think the only way you beat good quarterbacks is you get pressure on him. Even Tom Brady, when he was getting hit every play, didn't play well. Yeah. So I think they got to have the D-line's got to show up the way that they showed up against Georgia. If they do that, they can win the football game.
Yep. It's man, this is what it's all for, Andrew. This is why we have this show. It's all for this moment. Dial it up and play the best you can and go for this. This is what it's all about, man. I'm happy we're in this position, one of the last two teams standing. Andrew, maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for always being active everywhere I am. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Sean. Have a good one.
Have a good one, buddy. I'm going to do a couple chats and go right back to the calls. I know you guys understand. I got to keep up with the chats. Old Benny, $5 hour from a Buckeye fan. How to beat us. Run the ball 80%, challenge the tackles, throw a few deep balls, force PI, game will slow down enough to win. There you go, old Ben. I mean, I understand that theory. Yeah, as far as keeping you guys off the field, I think Notre Dame finding ways to sustain drives is such a big deal for Notre Dame in this moment offensively, not just so you can hopefully score some points, but every minute Notre Dame's out there and gets another first down and is burning time off the clock is another minute their high-powered offense with all those Ferraris on the outside is in the garage. So that is a twofold project. One is you controlling the ball, eating up some clock, moving down down the field. And the second part is every minute you're doing that, their offense ain't out there. and your defense is resting and you're already short-handed because of all the injuries. You got to figure out these. It's just, there's no easy way. You got to have good first and second downs to put you in third and manageable, and then you got to keep that clock moving. Like, if Notre Dame cannot do that, maybe all these people are right and it gets ugly. And so you got to put your best effort out there, man. You really do. $20 holler from Ryan. John, thanks for all your content this year. It's been awesome. Same story, different week for everybody that hates the Irish. Who gives a bing if they give us credit? Let's just go beat the Buckeyes. Thanks a lot for the kind words. Deb Thomas, I'm going to tell you this. One of the only things on the planet that can calm me down with anxiety or how worked up I get with Notre Dame is David Gilmore playing the guitar. It is better than drugs. It is better than medicine, like anti-anxiety medicine. There's something about the way that guy plays the guitar that if you allow it, it'll take you to another place. And you don't need to be on anything to do it. But David Gilmore is a special, special talent in that way. And one of the only natural remedies for my Notre Dame anxiety. I've just been walking around the house playing his solos, like in my earbuds, it's one of the only things that I start hearing it and my blood pressure goes down. And it's a blessing. And he's a special guy to me for that reason. Swan Dog, somebody piss off Tom so we could get another one of his calls. By the way, Chris is a really good person. For some odd reason, he took the hard stance on Freeman last night. Eric, you don't have to defend Chris. You had a little good cop, bad cop. You kind of being the moderator in the middle, like middle ground. If that's really what he thinks, that's really what he thinks. But I kept saying to Chris, I think I know you well enough to know you don't mean all this stuff to the extent you're saying it, but you're leaning in on this narrative for this show for this reason intentionally. I still don't think he means everything he said about Freeman and this game not even being competitive at all. Am I pacing around already? What do you think? Give me a break. It has been a long week. A long week. And yeah, I'm wound a little tight. Uh-oh. Chicago's very own Tom Folley. What's going on?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. I'm wound a little tight, but we're winding down the week here. We're going to get answers here soon.
Yeah. Oh, no question. Listen, the football aspect of all this nonsense is what I want to focus on. I saw some things, and to what Andrew was saying, I would like to piggyback off that. So he was a little irritated with Denbrock's play calling against Penn State. Well, when was it, Andrew, or a lot of other people not irritated by the play calling? I just went back and I did a deeper dive yesterday, and I looked at the difference between he and the former offensive coordinator, Jared Parker. And, basically the same offensive weapons sans Riley Leonard, right? So as I looked at the Georgia game and the Penn State game again, there were wrinkles that he put in that they did not execute on because of the defense they were playing. I mean, those guys, they're not going to see that type of, they might see it a little bit, but they won't see that type of penetration, I don't feel, especially on the left side of the line. I think there's wrinkles that are going to come in. One of the tendencies that Denbrock has is that he will tease the next opponent by showing some formations and some looks and then counters away from it. I think he opens up the entire playbook. He unloads the clip on Ohio State because, back to your point, John, they've got nothing else to lose. This is where you have to come at them. And a lot of that is going to be predicated on how they run the ball in between the tackles. If they can run the ball in between the tackles, now we got a ball game.
Yeah.
But the whole narrative here about Notre Dame is going to get blown out, the total lack of disrespect, anything that Notre Dame has done and done well this year, it was a fluke. Special teams did it. They had a short field. Well, you know what? Notre Dame did score in a lot of short fields. And why was that, all you experts out there? Because the defense gave them the short field.
Yeah.
My God. So, it's funny. When Notre Dame earns this victory, and they will earn this victory, it will be tight. But when they do it, they're still going to get sand kicked in their face by the national media. There'll be some goofy story, and I'm tired of it. So I just want the ball game to start. Let's get there. The motivation factor, I can't believe that these kids on Notre Dame don't understand or are not seeing what's being talked about them, the disrespect. That's the narrative. I keep feeding that beast. That's why I want all the Ohio State. Get every Ohio State fan on your show. Get them on every Notre Dame message board. Keep perpetuating this nonsense.
I am all for it, and that is it's just the narrative, man, and I'm fine with it. And I want Notre Dame to embrace it fully and use it as fuel. I understand why Ohio State's favored. I have no issue that they're favored. But all these predictions for not close game and just a blowout and Notre Dame doesn't belong and the path they got there was easy. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, winning 13 in a row, having the longest winning streak in America is easy, apparently. Now, 9 of those games by double digits in a row. Like, there's only one
conference, John.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're not in the conference, and they don't play anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would have thought, Tom, I would have thought it would be more impressive that Notre Dame's bouncing between conferences and different styles of play and knocking off all of these good teams that are from different conferences. I would have thought that would gain Notre Dame some credibility, but apparently, and show that you could diversify and adjust to all these different kinds of play and win football games. Apparently, that's not valued. Whatever, man. There's only one way, Tom. There's only one way. Win the game. That's the only way any of this narrative changes. It isn't a close loss, and then Ryan Day's beard gets to lift the trophy. You got to find a way to win this damn game.
That's the John Kennedy voice I wanted to hear. You're psyched out. There's no reason to be wound up tight about this. It's just, let it play out. It's going to be okay. I seriously, it's a possibility they get manhandled. There's a possibility, but I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
The defense is just too good. And they're too quick sideline to sideline.
Tom, how are you handling the anxiety, man? Are you hanging in there okay? It's been a very, very long, weird. It's been a weird week for me. I'm in a weird place. I'm wondering how you're doing.
No, thank you for asking. Outside of all the nonsense from who fans, and I got to put it in the rearview mirror. Life's too short. There's too many other things to celebrate. God gave us all another day to breathe on this earth. Hopefully we get to see this beautiful game Monday night. I'm going to take it all in and enjoy what it is. If Notre Dame loses, okay, fine. That's somebody's got to lose. And I just like the whole direction of the program.
Yeah, that's a very mature. That's a very, very mature perspective, Tom. Thank you.
Well, you have to look at it that way. But now, if you go back to the immediate days following the NIU loss and all the crap that was being said about Notre Dame, they're still irrelevant. They don't matter. They're never going to make the 12-team playoff. It's just, especially those two clowns, Stephen A. Smith and that Cam Newton. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yep.
And now even some of their talking points has changed, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Pick a horse and stay with it. Either, you have to realize that the game of college football is so much better when Notre Dame's clicking on all cylinders. And like Professor Deneen said in his article yesterday, they're still going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And there was one take that got me a little irritated when they said that because of the NIL money and the way things are going, is that Notre Dame will now become a dynasty. How is that going to happen exactly? This genius that put that up from CBS Sports, he said, really? Everybody's on an 85 scholarship rule as of the first of the year, right? So you want to talk about parity. The days of stockpiling players is over with.
Yeah, it is.
So that makes Notre Dame, that puts us in a very good position to continue on Marcus Freeman's journey of recruiting the best high school student athletes that actually fit Notre Dame, that are actually feigning an interest in getting a degree. Does that happen in Columbus, Tuscaloosa, Ann Arbor? Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's the thing, Tom. I don't want to get into like, oh, whose degree, who has to go to school, blah, 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 all that stuff. Here's what I'm saying, though.
No, I don't either, but I'm just saying it's a fact of life that they're still going to have, and which actually benefits Notre Dame, because you'll have 25 to 30 of those players that are the nucleus. Now, you'll have more than that because they don't use the transfer portal like everybody else does, where there's 30 or 40 kids coming in 1 year. They'll never do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the benefit of Notre Dame. And look at all the talk at the beginning of the year. You know, how many people in our fan base were thinking, oh, Angeli and Minchie are going to hit the transfer portal.
Yeah.
There they are.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to have. I'm looking forward to the quarterback battle in the springtime.
Yeah.
I really am. Let's see it.
This is
everybody gets better.
There's interesting things going on, man. This Notre Dame program's kind of turning a corner here, and it's really, really good to see. And Tom, I'm going live tomorrow night. If you want to join, feel free. You're always welcome. But I love you, buddy, and I hope you're hanging in there. It's an anxious time.
All right, guys. Yeah, you too, John. Thanks a lot. Maybe I will definitely check in tomorrow night. God bless. Go Irish.
Have a good one, Tom. Take care, buddy. Man, that guy loves him some Notre Dame football. He really does. V1 Rotate, $10 holler. I believe the game will be competitive. I truly think people are undervaluing Notre Dame's defense and how disruptive it is. They said we couldn't cover Harrison last year, and he had 3 catches. Yeah, it is. Man, here we go. Here's Ronald. We can always count on him. He's a clown for a reason, people. John will be back Monday saying, well, folks, that was interesting. Ohio State 41, Notre Dame 17. Same result as Kelly. Where do we go from here? You've been wrong on every playoff game prediction so far. So keep going down this road, Ronnie. Keep going down this road. But then you got to promise. My main man, Martinez, is pulling out the happy Gilmore. You're going to die, clown. What a great movie. That was a good line. You're going to die, clown. Ronnie, you got to promise me, if Notre Dame wins this football game and me and Pat host our huge blowout party to celebrate, you got to be there and make a bunch of McDonald's food. It's like a wedding where you have like a food cart and you got to do it, the full makeup, the full hair. And I need you in there making, I'll take a double cheeseburger, right? I'll take some fries. We're drinking some beers. I'm going to get hungry. I want some fries. You got to promise if Notre Dame wins, you need to show up dressed up and serve people some McDonald's food. Maybe if you make the burger, you won't smash it like a pancake like everybody that works at a McDonald's I've ever been to. I'm never going to quit yelling about that. Every single McDonald's, every McDouble I've ever gotten is the size of a pancake. I swear to God, these people look out, see me sitting there and go, I don't like this guy. And they literally make the burger and then stop the crap out of it and give it to me. I opened a bag that thing's this thick. I don't understand. Bro. Every single burger from McDonald's I get is the thickness of a pancake. Son of a buck! I'm yelling more about this burger than I am this game. I'm in a weird spot, you guys. I need to just go listen to some David Gilmore solos on YouTube, I think. I really do. I'm going back to the calls. I got to keep up with the chats though. IOPod, I hear you. I just wish everybody could get to know Chris like I do. He's a really great guy. That's all. Eric, this is just the way it goes, man. That is what your co-host wanted to present. And you knew how that was going to come off to Notre Dame people. But like that was a choice by him to go that hard on Freeman and against Notre Dame and all that stuff. Like, it is what it is, man. And my people don't know him like you. They just went over there one day and then saw a guy crapping on their coach and their team. But I think he's a good guy too. And I kept trying to call him out and say, I don't think you even believe what you're saying. You're just pushing it to play this angle for this buildup. And I still believe that. He didn't admit it, but that's what I believe. That is definitely what I believe. Look at this, Ryan Day's beard. I started yelling about this on the show last night because this account was in that show. Ryan, whatever this AI image is of Ryan Day with this perfectly manicured beard and everything and looking all one color, that's the best it's ever looked. Although I think the Buckeyes are going to win, I have nothing but respect for the Irish program. I have tons of friends that are Notre Dame fans. Here's to a good game. There you go, Ryan Day's beard. That, even though your beard is weird, that is really a classy comment. Oh, IOPod, $10 hour. For the record, if Notre Dame wins Monday night, I'll be the first person to congratulate you all. I appreciate your mentorship, John, and to you and your fans last night. That was a big night for me. Listen, man, you're a good dude. You're a good dude, and I'm proud to call you a friend and to maybe answer some questions or give you a little advice on growing your channel. So thank you. Burger King, Cam Newton dresses like a magician. This dude he's on my last nerve, man. But you know what I'm done doing? I keep, every time one of these national first take, whatever you want to call it, people say something dumb about Notre Dame, 80 people send me the link or the thing on Twitter going, did you see what this idiot said? I'm done watching that stuff. I'm done caring about that stuff. I don't care. Like, that's what I don't get. Why is their default, talking about respect or disrespect for Notre Dame, why is there default respect for whatever some talking head reads off a prompter when ESPN tells him, here's your angle for the day? Who cares? I don't care what any of these people think. It means nothing to me. Cam Newton looks like a 1978 Harlem pimp. I don't care what he says about Notre Dame. It doesn't matter. I'm not giving it the time of day. I'm already in my own head enough about what's going on in this moment. I don't need to add anything to it, okay? Let's keep it moving. 567, welcome to the show. 615 up next. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, John? It's Domerguy, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for jumping in. A good phone line today, too. I appreciate that. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, no problem. First off, I've never actually told you my name. My name's Danny, so I just go by Domerguy, obviously. But
hey,
I just wanted to let you know that.
You know what I need to do? I'm glad you bring that up, actually. When we get through this cluster that's going to be next week, whatever it looks like, good or bad, when we get done with that, I have the ability on this call-in program to go in it a little deeper, add some features, and be able to program names. And that's something I need to do is the next time people call, what do you want your name to be for the show? And then I could program it in, and then we could get a little more on a one-on-one here where I know who I'm dealing with and who's calling. So we'll do that, but it's just too chaotic now. We'll do it when all this settles down.
Oh, yeah, I feel you. It's just, sooner or later, I'm going to meet you at a blue and gold tailgate or a game tailgate. I don't want you to say, "Hey, what's up, Domer guy?" So yeah, I kind of just wanted you to know on a first name basis.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. No problem, buddy. But first, man, I meant to be on the Ohio podcast last night, but I completely forgot about it. And by the time I remembered, you're already off, so I apologize for not being there to support you, buddy.
Oh, that's okay, man. We had a pretty good contingent over in the chat and a couple good callers. Pat called in and had a good back and forth there. Like I was heartened by the Notre Dame people willing to venture into enemy territory. That was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then another thing I wanted to say about the Ohio podcast, I listened to you and Eric's pre-recorded show yesterday at work, and I just want to say that there's not a lot of Ohio State fans that I will give respect to. That he's probably one of the only ones, really. But what he said to you about it, if Notre Dame loses or wins the game, that he'll be happy for you. That was a really classy thing to say.
I know, man.
And I just wanted to give Eric credit because he really is a classy Ohio State fan. And I want him to let him know that I think that.
I was thinking about that too. That was a really mature thing for him to say to end that show. And I was thinking about that too. And there's a reason that he's the only Ohio State guy I work with. Like, there's a reason that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just hanging out with anybody here. There's a reason. And it's because I do know him off air, know he's a good guy, and he does. Yeah. So I'm with you. Really good point.
Yeah. And then, So digging into the game a little bit. So I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter, and dude, I tell you what, man, I think I've listened to more sports talk radio and Twitter feeds in the past month than anybody in the world. I have been just digesting Notre Dame propaganda for whatever game they're headed into, whether it's Indiana, Penn State, Georgia. In this game, I have just been living and dying in this moment, and it's really so much fun. And so I seen a post on Twitter the other day, and the only difference really between us and Ohio State is, and it's going to sound like a big difference, okay, but they have 24 5-star recruits, and we have one, okay. And
pretty big difference.
4-star recruits.
It's kind of a big difference.
It does sound like a big difference, but to everybody's. We have the same amount of 4-star prospects, and Notre Dame has 12 more 3-star prospects than they do. Okay, so the difference is the 5-star prospects, right? So, I'm not taking anything away from Marcus Freeman, because Marcus Freeman is my guy. I, along with a couple other people in the chat, have been hesitant to say Marcus Freeman is the guy because the jury was still out. But as soon as he beat Indiana, and then pretty much the Georgia win, as soon as he beat Georgia, I'm all in on Marcus Freeman. I'm sold on him. I'm sold on the way he recruits. I used to be a cherries on top guy, and I want you to get the 5 stars. I thought that was the difference between us and the big boys in college football. Okay. But he has proven the past 2 weeks that that's not the case. That's not the case. He's doing less. He's doing more with less.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
And as long
as he continues to do that, I will give him his credit.
Let me jump in on that. There's 2 things I want to say about this. Number one is, I believe I said on the show last night, the Ohio pod, one of the things Marcus Freeman has been able to accomplish that no Notre Dame coach has done a good job of 30 years is getting the team to play better on the field in big moments than it looks like they should play on paper. I've been begging for that forever, saying, how do you squeeze every bit out of guys that what you can get to where the collective group plays better in big moments than what it looks like they should be capable of on paper? And Freeman has been able to do that at a clip that we have not had in 30 years of getting these guys to play better than it looks like they should on paper. Number 2 is, you are right. Whatever this staff's doing with their evaluations and then development with some of these players, they're turning 3 stars on the recruiting database into 5 stars when they're on the field. And a lot of those guys are doing it young. It's a very big compliment to the evaluation process of this staff because they're identifying guys that play better than their recruiting rankings. So they're doing a good job with the evaluation and development. But here's my final point here. I want the next level for this is to do both. It is to start getting 4 or 5 more 5-star guys. And then the bottom third of that recruiting class, you're doing a good job identifying underrated guys and developing them. That's the sweet spot. I can't have you relying on just developing 3 stars and then whatever. I want you to do that with the bottom third of your roster, but make the top part less risky where it's just like, we know these dudes are good. That's the next step, is keep doing that evaluation and development while you land a couple more playmakers that can play early for you that aren't risks. That's the sweet spot, and I don't even think we're there yet.
We're not there yet, and to tell you the truth, I don't know if we can ever get there. I don't know. I'm not saying that we can't. I don't know. In my 20s and even into my 30s a little bit, I had this thing where it just killed me to think, why can Notre Dame not keep up with the Joneses?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, over the past, I don't know, 5, 7, 8 years, I just came to terms and realized that Notre Dame is not Ohio State. Notre Dame is not going to be Georgia. They're not going to be Alabama. They're not going to be those teams that pull 10 5-stars into each recruiting cycle. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But you know what? If we can snag a couple in a recruiting cycle, that's a win. And doing what we're doing now, we've never done this before, so it can't hurt.
Can I ask you this? Let me ask you this. Do you think that this run, regardless of how it ends against Ohio State, will change the narrative with Notre Dame recruiting? Like, do you believe there's got to be some really good players watching this going, man, I didn't realize Notre Dame was this fun of a team to watch. And man, I really like their head coach and his energy and how much the boys play for him. Like, do you believe it's going to make a tangible impact and maybe get a few more guys to consider Notre Dame that normally wouldn't? Do you think that's going to happen or not?
I think it's the combination of both things you just mentioned. I don't think it's just getting here. Like if Brian Kelly were coaching his team or whoever, if whoever was coaching his team besides Marcus Freeman, I don't think that getting here per se would be enough to lure a kid to come to Notre Dame. Probably not. But with Marcus Freeman on top of it, Marcus Freeman is a star, dude.
Yeah.
He is a star.
Yeah.
Kids want to play for that guy. So I think when you're getting here on a yearly basis and they've proven that they can do it and you got that guy as your coach, I think that's a pretty good sell, dude.
Yeah, it really is. And man, Freeman is getting so much. We want to talk about some of the bad takes nationally against Notre Dame. I got to tell you, man, he's getting a lot of credibility of people saying Marcus Freeman is the gem of college football right now. And even Feinbaum was saying, he's the star of the playoff. And with this personality, so engaging or whatever, it's like, yeah, that's why I wanted him to be the coach 3 weeks when he was here as the DC. I said, that's our next coach. It's crystal clear to me. He wasn't even here a month. And I said, I'm done with Kelly. Give me this guy. And it could be a rough learning curve, but we'll be glad at the end of it. Give me this guy. He's got what it takes.
I know a lot of people in the chat won't believe me, but I was an advocate for hiring Freeman when Kelly left. I really was. As soon as Kelly left and I got past him leaving, he was my number one choice.
Yeah, well,
he was my number one choice. It was just because of the way he recruits.
Didn't take me that long. Took me 3 weeks. 3 weeks of him as the DC and me hearing from my people in the recruiting building that they couldn't keep up with the paperwork he wanted them to process. And everybody loves the guy already. And he went around and introduced everybody to it was everything I wanted in a Notre Dame coach. And I was on it early and whatever, man. This is a good thing building, man. So anything else? The really, really good call. Anything on the way out?
Yeah. I just got a couple more quick things and then I'll get you off here, buddy. But so my dad, man, diehard Notre Dame fan. Shout out, Pop. I love you. We just been having so much fun. He's been coming over and watching the games with me, and it's been a blast to have this experience with him. And he's going to come over for the national championship game, and I'm more of the warrior, and he kind of talks me off the ledge,
Yeah.
And my anxiety comes from excitement and the worrying part, and he's just excited about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he texted me yesterday early in the morning, John. He's like, I woke up this morning and I believe we can do this, with a bunch of explanation points. Okay. And then we text a little bit more, and I'm kind of giving him a little bit of my worries and concerns about the game. And he said, you know what, Danny? He said, Notre Dame became who we are by doing what we're going to do on Monday.
Yeah.
And dude, as soon as I read that text message, I shit you not, dude, I got butterflies.
Yeah.
Because he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. It's never been easy for Notre Dame. And going back to what I said a little bit ago, Notre Dame's never going to be Ohio State. They're never going to be Georgia. They're never going to get those 10 5-star recruits in a cycle. But you know what? We're going to stick to who we are. We are who we are. And when we win the chip, it's going to be that much sweeter because we're sticking to who we are.
Yeah, that's and I think I put out a Patreon video. I forget if it even posted yet. Everything's blending into me, talking about it's about time the genuine good guys win something. And a guy like Freeman who does it all the right way and above board and classy all the way, and the way they try and run this program, it would be really, really nice and fulfilling to see the team that operates that way get to the top, to show that you can do it the right way with the good guy as a head coach. And you don't have to, do all the stuff a lot of these snakes do that are in this head coaching business. And this is going to be a big one, man. Hey, I'm going live tomorrow night at 8:00. Jump in if you would like, my friend.
All right, brother. Hey, man, go Irish. I'll be watching tomorrow, and I'm excited.
Oh,
go
beautiful.
Irish.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Swan Dong, $2 holler. Why do nuggets have hard spots in them? I don't know. Maybe it's loose swan meat. I don't know. I don't have the answer. Some people are referencing the LSU media contingent. A couple people come to mind specifically. I don't know what's going to happen Monday. And I guess if Notre Dame played horrible and did get blown out, it could change the narrative a little bit. But the one thing I'm going to say is, so far, John is 100% correct about everything he said about Marcus Freeman and Brian Kelly. Not partially correct. John is 100% correct about all of the bigger picture predictions about Kelly and Freeman and where this is all at. Maybe that changes if Notre Dame really gets blown out or something. That's fine. But as we sit today, it's a bad look for the LSU people, because everything I predicted, all the Kelly struggles, every single one of them has happened. Every single one of them has happened. And me believing in Freeman, as he won more major bowl games in 2 weeks than the last 5 Notre Dame coaches combined, or whatever it is, of 30 years. So give me a break. Recruiting rankings are irrelevant. I don't fully agree with that. I'm never going to fully agree with that. They're not the end all be all. They're not the, Ronald, of course they would argue different, because they're vulnerable right now. Their takes are being exposed right now. The evidence on the field does not back up what we're seeing right now. Everything they tried to sell about Freeman and about BK is blowing up in their face. Of course they would disagree, because they're not going to go on their show and admit Freeman's doing a better job at Notre Dame than Kelly, and our guy is getting further away from a championship and not closer. Of course they would disagree, because they're not big enough to admit they got it wrong. Obviously, yes. Maybe if Notre Dame wins, Brian Kelly could get up on stage and take more credit for it. Unbelievable. And I mentioned it. Kelly talking about, I recruited some of these guys. There's at least 2 guys that are key players on this defense that I could verify from their families. When they were on recruiting visits, they never even met Brian Kelly. They wanted to play defense for Freeman. At least 2 guys from the families, when they went there, didn't even meet with Kelly. He didn't have the time. Too much golf. Okay. They wanted to play for Freeman, and they signed up to play for that guy. All right, 10-second break. And you could doubt me on that or whatever. I don't care. I know what I'm told from these families, and I believe what they're telling me. You could think whatever you want. I don't care. Weather's getting to me again, you guys. We went from like 10 degrees to like, don't you really think if I was doing something illegal, I would come back and be like different? The weather went from like 10 degrees. Then it's like 35 and 40 degrees. Now it's supposed to go to minus 700 degrees, whatever, man. Like, I just, come on, man. $2 holler. Yeah, we covered the Nuggets. Man, this is big time stuff. 615, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing very well, my friend. I would love to know your thoughts about this game.
Well, I think that Brady Quinn had the best take of anyone I've heard on it so far.
I don't think I actually don't think I saw that. Can you fill me in?
Yeah, he said what Notre Dame's done all offseason is they've actually grabbed their opponent and drug them into the deep side of the pool.
Yeah.
And I thought it was such a great analogy of how you've seen these games play out where Notre Dame has forced the competition to play their style of football. And
yeah. So can Notre Dame lure? Does Notre Dame have the ability to do that against this talented of a roster playing this hot in the playoff? I think that's a question. Does Notre Dame have what it takes to force Ohio State to play the kind of football game we need to play to win? And it's more of that Michigan-Ohio State style rather than a boat race.
Well, I think they do. And I think you look at if, maybe not so much Indiana, but if you look at Georgia and Penn State, their coaching staffs were probably after the game, like trying to figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
And that's they got drug into the deep end of the pool. And I think Notre Dame's capable of that. Look, for all intents and purposes, Notre Dame shouldn't win this game. But we have the luck of the Irish, we have culture, we have faith, and anything can happen.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, there's been many games, many different teams that you go in. They were talking about it on local radio today. All the teams that won national championships that the games were supposed to be blowouts. I spent a number of years in Idaho. I remember when Boise State was supposed to get clobbered by Oklahoma, and they ended up beating Oklahoma. So I think these guys on the team have an immense love for each other, a love for Notre Dame. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying they have a chance.
Yeah, and dude, that's what I've been saying too. Is I'm being totally fair and reasonable about this. I understand why they're favored. I don't disagree with it at all. Anything can happen in one game. I keep coming back to it. These games are not played on a recruiting database or a video game. They're played on a field, and in one game, anything can happen. This is football. Anything can happen in one game. Dive deep, double down on the underdog thing, and go give it all you got.
But when Notre Dame pulls this out, I have faith that they can. It's going to be just such a huge moment, not only on the big scale, but little scale. I mean, I've got family that worked at Notre Dame. I mean, you look at, I was in junior high when they won their last championship. I'll be thinking about my mom, my uncle, my dad. I'll be able to experience a championship with my family, how important that will be, how important it will be for you, John, for just everyone associated with Notre Dame. And so, and you sit there and you talk about faith. I mean, it appears we're a team of destiny. You look at the little things that have gone on, and it's almost, there's been moments of,
I know. I've been thinking,
divine intervention.
I've been thinking, I've been really thinking about that, and it's like you look at the run and all those little moments you're talking about, and there's only one chapter left that could be written, right? There's only one chapter left to complete this 30 for 30 documentary, made for TV documentary. There's only one more chapter, and it is to somehow, some way pull this game off on Ohio State, leave them stunned, get Notre Dame that championship. It is the final chapter that has to be written. You got to find a way.
Well, it was funny. Paul Feinbaum and some of these other analysts, they were saying, Penn State's going to beat Notre Dame. They're saying sooner or later, Notre Dame's luck's going to run out and they're not going to get the turnovers they have. And lo and behold, here we go, lose the turnover battle, but end up getting an interception at the end of the game to seal the game. And lo and behold, Notre Dame's defense has created more turnovers than anybody.
Yep. It's man, I have had a lot of thoughts very similar to what you're saying. And it's just, there's one more chapter, man. And it's like, you ask yourself, what's the point of getting this far to fall short now, and to have all that happen to fall short? There's just one more chapter. Anything else, my friend? Thank you for the call.
Yeah, I've got a little tension breaker here. Here's the last chapter. Okay. It's the beer commercial that I envisioned you, Lou Holtz, and Shane Gillis in after we win this thing.
I like that.
Where Lou looks at you and Shane and said, I told you that Brian Dave wasn't that good of a coach and they aren't tough. All of a sudden, Shane Gillis says, well, that's a Bud Light, Lou.
Oh, man. I love that. I like the angle. I hope Shane sees this so he can hook it up for the next beer endorsement deal. I really, really like that, man. Thank you so much. I'm with you, and I've thought of all these same things that you've thought of, man. And there's only one chapter left to be written, and it's going to be a big it's going to be a big one Monday, man. Hey, thank you for the call and for the perspective.
Well, God bless you. Go Irish and keep the faith.
Oh, man, I like that. What a nice caller. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Ohio podcast. John seems more like a black and mild guy. Bro, you have no idea how many black and milds with the plastic tip I ripped in college. You have no idea, man. Fire up that pipe tobacco. That old black and mild with the plastic tip it burns your mouth when you get down to a certain amount. That plastic heats up. Like Pat smokes some fancy cigars that are like, I don't know how much they cost per cigar, whatever. I go to the gas station, give me a 7-Eleven single loose plastic tip black and mild. Oh man, I'm not a classy smoker. Not a classy smoker. I can verify. Well, I can't verify it. Somebody in the building reached out to me on the phone and said that they talked to Jeremiah Love and he said he thinks he's feeling almost back to 100%, wearing the brace as a precaution, but he feels much, much, much better. You could believe it. You could not believe it. Somebody in the building that talked to him called me and told me that. Take it for what it is, you guys. Local source, $10 hour. Jeremiah Smith is the big bad monster everybody's looking at. Jeremiah Love is the Grim Reaper waiting in the shadows. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. I like that so much. 618, what's going on? Welcome to the program.
Good morning, John. You hanging in there?
I'm trying to.
I feel you on that one. I am about.
I don't know what happened. That call hung up. I don't think it was for me. If you want to try again, feel free. 574, what's going down?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I see that 574, local to South Bend. What's the energy like?
It's good. It's good. I wanted to tell you something. Last night, you always say, tell me what you've heard and seen. And, I'm 574 Kevin, by the way. And I was on last night. I was on, that was fun going on the Ohio podcast and all that. And I guess I was kind of wound up because I was up late. But I was, at the far end of the house, and I heard this singing. I'm thinking, what is this? And I step outside, and it was the strangest thing. You were talking about the UFO. This is almost like that, except so totally different. That they were singing, like the whole neighborhood's quiet. I live like a mile from campus.
Mm-hmm.
It's weirdly quiet here sometimes. It was the Glee Club, and they're singing. Whiskey and cigarettes and wild, wild women, they'll drive you crazy, they'll drive you insane.
Man.
Like top of their lungs, like 40 of them. You can't hear anything but that. And then after that, it was the alma mater. And I know it was the Glee Club because they sing it like, like Rudy style with all the layers and it was just beautiful, man. It echoed through the whole area, man. It sounded great. I couldn't see them, but I could just hear them.
Man, that's
and
nice.
then they ended with, it was just a moment, man. It was 1 a.m. It was weird. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. What are you thinking? We're a few days out here. What do you think of Notre Dame's chances? What do we got to do to pull this off?
Oh, I think we got him.
So what's the roadmap then? If you're saying that, you got to build me the roadmap to defend that position. What's the roadmap? How does Notre Dame get that done?
Play their game.
Yeah.
I can't get in the deep end with the X's and O's like the last caller talking about the deep end. But yeah, play our game. Pull them. Don't worry about what they're doing. Win the interval. Coach always says. I just coach talk or whatever. But I think he's got the right idea. Stay locked in on every play. That next 5 yards is ours. It's not theirs. It's ours. We got the home jerseys. It's on them to prove what they got. We beat Georgia. We belong here. All this idea that we don't belong here, stuff like garbage.
Yeah.
We more than belong here. Let's put them on the back foot.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
I do. I really believe that. You talk about Notre Dame magic and all that. We got grit for decades.
Yeah. This is, man, I just look at what a long run it's been for Notre Dame and all they've had to overcome and some of it of their own doing and some of it just bad luck or whatever, but everything they've had to overcome in this 13-game win streak to get to this moment. It's just like, man, there is only one appropriate chapter left to be written. And that is, I don't know what it looks like, but you fight, claw, and grind out one more, and then you live forever. Like that's it. You're immortalized forever. If you fight and claw your way through 4 more quarters, you're heroes forever in Notre Dame. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Yeah, you're dead right. I think it's ours. It's within our reach. It's right there. And I think these kids got a lot of grit. They got a lot left in the tank. I think they got enough to do it.
Yeah. It's man, you got to pull out all the stops. You got to play a good game, have a couple surprises maybe for Iowa State and get this done. If we could make them play the kind of game we want to play, Notre Dame could drag this thing out late and really have a shot. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for the call. What do the kids think? Do they have any breakdowns?
Let's say it again. The kids, like the students?
No, the kids in the background that I think I hear, your kids.
Oh yeah. That's my boy Terry. Yeah, we got a whole brood here, all cheering Irish. Yeah, I got them on the fight song and everything.
That's great. Yeah, this is going to be a wild one, man. Give it all you got. This one is for immortalized glory and Notre Dame history. Give it all you got. And you're the underdog, and there's freedom in that. You can let it rip and do anything you want to try and get this win as the underdog. And there's freedom in being the dog, and I hope Notre Dame embraces it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got them playing loose, and I like our chances.
Man, go Irish. Hey, thanks for the call. It is it's good to hear the old Glee Club there. Some of these chats are hilarious. Oh man, Ronald, you need an adjustment. 415, what's going on?
Hey, Johnny boy, how you doing, boss?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm in a weird spot this week. I admit that. I've already admitted, I don't have that many nerves left to be frayed or emotion left to give. This playoff run has been absolutely wild. And it is, I don't know, man. What do you make of it? It's one win for immortality in Notre Dame history and Freeman getting a bronze statue right across from Frank at the entrance. That's what's on the line. What do you make of it?
Yeah, 26-24. Notre Dame takes it. Last second field goal. It's either going to be something to that degree or one touchdown less on a real slug out, but I think we both actually get a couple scores in there, and then Jeter's going to take us home. That's just my prediction on it. But as far as like the jitters and the whole like just time leading up to it. One of the wild things that's been going on is like 1 week we have a bunch of time off from the last game of against USC. Then we play one game. Then it's like the next game is like 7 days later. Now this one's like 11 days later or whatever it is, and it's messing up with all of our kind of equilibriums on this, just to try to get a feel. But I'm a lot like you. I just started getting to a point where I'm like, I just need to get out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I took the family to the beach out here, and it's like 63 degrees. So it's not warm, but it's warmer than most of the other country. But it was like one of those ones where let's just go out. Let's just get out of here, get to the beach. It's on a whatever day, like there's nobody around. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting in the sand, and I turn around, and there's a guy behind me up on the berm, and he just looks at me, and he gives me an OH with his arm. And I'm like, motherfucker. Excuse me, sorry about that. But he just literally did it, and I just looked at him, and I'm like, because I'm wearing my Notre Dame hat. And he's like, that's right. And he's just kind of shaking his head. I'm like, I can't get away from it.
Yeah.
I can't get away.
I mean, what are you going to have to, you're going to have to go swim out in that ocean towards Hawaii to get away from these people. The beach isn't far enough. Hey, are you guys safe? Everybody.
Believe it. I literally just,
I
sat there. My kids were looking at me. They're like, who's that guy? I'm like,
I don't know. And I don't want to know.
I'm like, that's
exactly.
Exactly.
Hey, are you guys safe? Are you guys staying safe? Are you away from all the action with fire and everything? Are you guys okay?
Oh yeah, yes sir. Yeah, we're actually in Northern California, so we're if you were in San Francisco, we're north of that.
Okay.
So we're pretty far away from all the fires down there, but that's pretty much a norm in this state. I'm actually a firefighter myself, so it's one of those ones where you get used to. I don't know, over the last 7-8 years of it just being really kind of bogged down with wildland fires around here. So kind of the norm, but this one, obviously, this is a perfect storm, ironically, in January with winds and dry conditions and whatnot. It just overtook that entire area. So it's super sad to see. But I mean, as far as my family, we're safe up here. We have some people that we know from our area that are down there working, and everybody's trying to stay safe.
That's tough. Anything else on the game, man? You're the underdog, fully embrace it, and there's freedom in that, and go for this one. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, man. John, that's absolutely right. I'll say this, that, I'm embracing this as kind of like the Rocky Balboa type of situation. We've got we're going to take our shots. We're going to get hit. It's just going to be one of those ones. It might not look totally pretty or whatever. If you rattle off our stats and you want to look at like our rushing game or whatever, this or that, and it's just not impressive. Or in one game we throw for like 98 yards. It's like, who cares? We win the game. We find a way to win the game. And you and I have talked about that kind of Notre Dame spirit, the grit, the grind, just all that kind of stuff that this team embodies. And, obviously coming from Freeman and the top down. And it's one of those ones where I don't feel the way I felt in 2012.
Yeah.
By any means. In 2012, I think I was a little bit more kind of like, oh, this is a great matchup, and this will be fantastic, and we can win, and da-da-da. And then you get there and you go, wow, okay.
Yeah, you really learned exactly how far away we really were. I do think that is where the 12-team playoff changes things a little bit, because I believe there's kind of a proof of concept there, right? Like you handle upstart Indiana, then you bodied and out physical the SEC, the big bad SEC champs, right? And a tough, good defense Penn State team. Like you should feel a little different than 2012 because there's more proof of concept that shows that Notre Dame can hang and does belong. And I want to prove a lot of people dead wrong on this one, man. And all the people that are tweeting the blowout and all the chats saying a blowout, it would be the ultimate to be able to throw it back in all these people's faces, but Notre Dame's got to go earn it.
Hey, John, your YouTube videos that you would send out about like, hey, I love it. I love the fact that they're all saying like blowout, or I'm already dusting off the shelf.
Yeah, lean into it. Lean into it.
Yeah, perfect. Keep going, buddy. Keep going. Keep walking into that deep end. One of your callers just earlier was talking about Brady Quinn's comments about we just seem to like kind of drag people out to the deep end. And then, it's just like a free for all out there and let's just see who survives because we don't care if we die type of thing. It's like, let's go, let's get after it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I heard that same one that Brady Quinn was doing and I loved it. And I think it's exactly what we're going to do. And so we just keep bringing them out, mentally speaking, and we say, okay, cool. You guys want to keep thinking you're going to blow us out, keep doing this, keep doing that? Not a problem. I don't care if you score on the opening drive. You are going to get a fist fight to the absolute end. And either way, John, I do predict us winning, and I would never predict us losing, but I do honestly, truly feel like we're going to win this game. I do feel it's going to be like something like that at the end of the Penn State type of game. And, it will be incredible to just absolutely stuff it in everybody's face, but then just embrace it for the rest of our lives,
Yeah, it is. It's, I don't know, man. The narrative is there. Like the whole 30 for 30 is written except for the final piece of it. If Notre Dame, listen, if this really is a team of destiny or something like that, they will find a way to win. And I don't know what it looks like, but if that is really what is meant to be, and this year 3 magic and the way they've run through every 13 wins, all this stuff, if this really is just meant to be, Notre Dame's going to find a way, whatever that roadmap looks like. And I am beginning to, for my own sanity, come around to that idea of just like, if that really is what it's meant to be, they're going to find a way somehow, some way. And it's going to be it's going to be a weird day Monday, a long day Monday, and then we'll see what we get, man. Hey, stay safe out there and be careful out there fighting fires, okay?
Will do, boss. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one, buddy. Hey, have a good one, buddy. How much time you got, buddy? Does anybody know where that's from? How much time you got, buddy? Mac 77. ND won't cross midfield more than 3 times. Okay. All right. That would be unfortunate. Oh, man. How much time you got, buddy? The best dancers. That will never not be. That skit will never not be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I just can't handle it. His eyes are closed. I just can't. How much time you got, buddy? Oh my God, that's funny. Oh, 347. What's going on?
John, what's up, dude? You ready for this game or what?
I'm wound tight, man. And I'm not going to lie. I'm wound very, very tight. I'm running low on anxiety to have in the tank. I'm running low on emotions. I'm doing the David Gilmore. I'm turning comfortably numb. I'm about worn thin with everything I have in the tank, and I'm open about that.
You know what? That's all right. I feel you. It's not like we always get this opportunity. You know what? I got a couple of points I want to make. First and foremost, this is not an insurmountable task. I think the national media theme is a lazy analysis based on star rankings. The last 2 times we played this team, it should have been a split. We had them beat. And the first time we played them, we lost on their home field with Tyler Buckner as our quarterback, and that was a very close game that winded down to the end. And you know what? Freeman teams don't get blown out. So I'm confident that's not going to happen. This guy's here 3 years now, and we haven't had one of these Kelly debacles. I don't predict that's going to happen on Monday.
Yeah, it's man, it is it all just feels so different this time, like the whole vibe and the way Notre Dame's making the big plays in these games to get over the hump. Like it all just kind of feels different. And it's just with all the injuries and everything, do you have one more in you like that? Can you dig deep and get one more out of this? I don't know, man, this is just, it's a special thing to behold. And we have a great opportunity here. I love being the underdog. I don't mind it. Lean into it 100%. I like it.
I don't mind it at all either. It should be fuel for us. But let's just switch the helmets up for a second. Let's just pretend that Georgia had defeated Notre Dame and went on to beat Penn State. I'm just curious to what the national perspective would be in regards to a Georgia-Ohio State national championship. Would they look at Georgia like the underdog that Notre Dame is?
I don't know. I mean, number one is I feel like Kirby Smart has some skins on the wall. Marcus Freeman does not yet have. He's a multi-time national champion, and so there's some credibility they would have there. Number two is an overinflated sense of what the SEC is these days. That still permeates. So you would have some of the SEC push. And then just the talent. Nobody could deny that Georgia's a top 3 roster. They recruit in the top 3 every single year. So I think the narrative would be a little different. They would be looked at as a little vulnerable. But there are some big differences between that program and where they've reached and are so far.
Hey, you know what? We beat them by 13 points, man. And, the only game, well, it's really 1.5 games over the entire season, including the playoffs, where Notre Dame has shown any vulnerability whatsoever. And, of course, that was the failure with NIU. We've clearly grown past that. And it was the first half against Penn State, where Penn State had a couple of days rest on us, and half our team had the flu. We came out in that second half. We absolutely took over that game. In fact, there were 4 instances this year where Ohio State showed vulnerability and could have lost. We had a game and a half over our entire year where we shown vulnerability. We basically spanked everybody, every single team, including Georgia. I know the score 23-10 was closer than the outcome, but the outcome's the outcome. It was 23-10. That was the SEC champion. We beat Texas A&M by 10 points on the road. Honestly, look, anything can happen on Monday, but I can tell you what won't happen. Freeman teams don't get blown out. That will not be the outcome. This will likely be a good game. Hopefully it'll be a great game. But Ohio State scored 21 points against Nebraska. They scored 20 against Penn State. They scored 10 against Michigan. They scored 31 against Oregon and lost. That's an average of 21 points over 4 different games throughout their year. I see no reason why we can't hold them to about 20, 21 points and find a way to a 27-20 victory. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh, man. Yeah, it is. I just think I get what you're saying, but whenever I bring those struggles up, it's like, no, you don't understand. It's all different now, and that won't happen again, right? Like, that's like the vibe, and it's like, and it was similar with Georgia, where leading into that game, I would bring up all of the vulnerabilities that Georgia showed in the regular season, and then the Georgia people are like, well, you don't understand. It's just going to be all different because it's playoff, and it wasn't. They showed all of those vulnerabilities, so. I'm with you, man. If Notre Dame can keep that score down, they have a chance to win this game late. If it turns into a race up and down the field, it doesn't look good for us. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I don't see Ohio State doing that. And in regard to Georgia, they beat Texas twice. And one of those games was a blowout. Texas had Ohio State on the ropes. That game was about to be tied. Fluke play. They run it back for a touchdown. 28-14 the final. That game easily could have gone the other way. And again, Georgia handled Texas twice. I don't necessarily believe in transitive properties, but in this instance, I think it's pertinent.
Yeah, it's I get what you're saying, and Uncle Al's gonna have to dial something up, and the boys are gonna have to do a good job against the run, do a good job against those receivers, and rattle this quarterback, make him throw you a couple. It's going to be really interesting. Hey, man, thanks for calling. It's been a while. Looks like September was the last time. Anything on the way out? Thank you.
Yeah, John, I tried calling. You're a busy guy, man. I'm looking forward to getting this victory. It's long overdue, and you will be hearing from me in the offseason.
Oh, man, I hope so, man. You take care. It's great to hear from you again. I really appreciate it. And listen, man, it's a good problem to have that people are having trouble getting on the air. It's a good problem to have, man. The show's growing, and I really appreciate it. I genuinely do. Oh, man. And listen, SPF, you're bringing up like Penn State in the first quarter and the first half and all that. I really believe this. I think Notre Dame was totally worn out from all the emotional and physical toll put into the Georgia win, combined with all of the weird circumstances that surrounded how quickly we forget the tragedy that happened in New Orleans and all that affecting the game. So then you lose the recovery time. You have all of the emotional and physical toll that went into beating Georgia. Then you get closer to the Penn State game and you have the sickness that went through the locker room combined with the already existing injury issues. And it really isn't that surprising to me that Notre Dame was a little sluggish starting out against Penn State. That really doesn't surprise me at all when I look at those details. And then they turned it on. And then they turned it on. And then they woke up and then they dug deep and they found a way to win. Dude, I don't even know what this means. $2 holler from Mike. I know what this means. $2 holler. Fosu. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, the excuses. Come on, Johnny. What did I say that isn't a fact? Is there anything I just went over that you could factually disagree with or push back on me on? Or is this just the narrative you want to make today? Like, what did I say that is I'm just telling you the reality of the circumstances Notre Dame was operating in. Nothing I said is an opinion. All of it's a fact. All of it's a fact. So whatever, man. Whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say. 614, what's going on?
Excited. I became aware of your channel when my Buckeyes beat you 2 years ago, and then we miraculously beat you on the 1 yard line. I'm excited for this game. This is the most confident I've been playing a team since Oregon. I heard a lot about Texas. I didn't really see Texas play, but for you guys, I'm excited. This is a coronation. It's been 10 years. I'm excited to get this championship. Well, I'm hoping for a great game, and I think that Marcus Freeman is a tremendous coach, and for you guys to make it here is a huge accomplishment. I know everyone doubts you guys after that NIU loss, but I was one of the people that did because it was a 12-team playoff.
Yeah. Can I ask you this? If you're coming from the Ohio State side, let me ask you this. If things went totally wrong for you guys and somehow Notre Dame ended up winning, what does that look like in your opinion? Like, I'm sure you've had to think of it. Like, should everything go wrong and Notre Dame ends up winning? Like, what would you guys have to mess up or allow happen from our end to make that a reality? And I know you don't think that's going to happen and you don't think it's likely. I'm just asking an Ohio State person, if it goes wrong for you, what is that roadmap?
Going wrong for us is keeping the game close until the fourth quarter. I think if we go into the fourth quarter with any lead, you guys are not going to win. But if it's the fourth quarter, kick the field. Say the game is tied or we're up, whatever. Say 1 point. Kick the field goal with 14:39 on the clock. Ryan Day in the fourth quarter, I can't trust him. Chip Kelly in the fourth quarter, I cannot trust him.
Interesting.
I don't trust him. Will Howard in the fourth quarter, I don't trust him. I think when we have a lead, a lot of people call us front runners. When Ohio State has a big lead, we pour it on. But when the game is close, Ryan Day kind of gets tension, shrivels up.
Dude, I get that. I'm right. I am right there with you. Notre Dame wants to make this a lower scoring, more Michigan type battle and drag this game out, take time off the clock, keep your offense off the field, like drag it out. I'm with you. The longer Notre Dame could drag it out and keep it close, the more it favors Notre Dame. If it turns into any sort of race up and down the field, Notre Dame's screwed. I fully believe that. Anything else, my friend? I appreciate you calling in and being at least giving Freeman some credit here.
I'm scared of you guys' run game. You guys can run a ball, and at times our defense is really good. But what you guys did to Georgia when they could consistently not get off the field, that scares me. And also special teams. Whatever special teams trick that you guys did against Georgia, I hope it does not bring it out because I think you guys have tremendous special teams. Your guys' special teams is better than ours. You guys' kicker is better than ours. I don't trust our kicker, and I think Marcus Freeman knows that we don't trust our kicker, so we cannot kick a field goal. I don't trust him to kick one, so I think we're going to go for it every single time. I know a lot of people talk about Will Howard. Will Howard, he stumbled at the line. Everyone knew, at least from the Ohio State side, I don't know about Texas, that we're not going to kick a field goal. We can't kick a field goal. I don't know how much you guys trust your kicker, but you guys have better special teams than us. Guys got a better kicker than us. I think as long as the game is and you guys don't have a better run game than us, but I think the ability to run the ball is a factor. What do you think? Are you nervous about the game at all?
Am I nervous? I'm not. I don't eat and I don't sleep. Yes.
Wait, have you guys left? Because I know Ohio State, they don't leave Columbus, Ohio until 4:30 today. So I don't know if you guys are already in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it's 3:30. The flight wheels up at 3:30 Eastern time today, I believe. Heading there.
Right. So okay, so we're leaving the same day. So there's no advantage between that. So do you have any other questions just from my perspective? I've heard a lot of Notre Dame callers.
Yeah, man.
They don't seem confident.
I think you're I actually think you're being pretty fair about things, and I appreciate the call and talking about some legitimate maybe vulnerabilities. And I am totally with you, man. If this game early looks the way Notre Dame wants it to look, it could be an all-night slugfest. But if you guys are able to do any of this jumping ahead early stuff and flying down the field in 30 seconds and 3 plays, and you're up by 10-0, but before Notre Dame even wakes up, it could be a long night for Notre Dame. So this is all about who is able to make this game look and feel the way they need it to look and feel. This is a really fair call, man. I appreciate you. Thanks.
I have one more question because I haven't heard anybody from Notre Dame side talk about this. If you guys win the coin toss, do you take the ball first or defer?
I think we're going to play defense, and I believe it's interesting.
You don't want the ball?
I think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think Notre Dame has won the toss every playoff game and deferred every time. I'm pretty sure Notre Dame's defense is their best unit. They're going to put them out there first if they have the chance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my final question. I would love for you guys to take the ball. That'd be interesting. But you guys say you got a great defense, so
yeah, they're gonna want to put the defense out there and settle in the game that way, and try and get that possession out of the half to either pad a lead or catch up. So, yeah, but I think we've won it every single time and deferred every time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I love the show. I love how you did your season is over. That was very
I was wondering how many people were going to catch the angle I was going for there. You got to really be deep in the college football YouTube world to get that one. So I'm glad you appreciate it, and I had a smile on my face creating that thumbnail. Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
Have a good one.
For a great game.
Yep. I mean, I got to say that was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. Ended up being. Jeez. 917. What's going on? My main man Martinez after that. What's going on, WPP?
Hey, John. It's West Palm, Pat from West Palm. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem, man. What's going on? What are you thinking about with this matchup?
I look at it as a first quarter game. I forget the name of the receiver on Ohio State, the freshman.
Smith.
But the way I look at it, Golden has to play man defense. You can't go your whole season telling your team and your defense that we can cover anybody, and then changing your tune in the championship game. You know what I mean? You got to go with what you've been doing.
Yeah, it's an interesting statistic. 19% of the time Howard has dropped back and thrown passes, it's been against man coverage. Most of the Big Ten did not have the athletes to feel comfortable playing man that much. So you ended up with these soft zones where you could just dump it to the athletes in space, and then they're like deer, and then they take off. Notre Dame's definitely going to play more man than 19%, but they're not going to do it all night. You're going to have to mix it up a little bit.
Well, I think they got to start the game with it because, that Ohio State freshman wide receiver is very, very good. But I think he's probably been reading, his own press clippings. And if Moore can lock him down and shut him out in the first quarter, it's going to be very demoralizing to a freshman because he's never experienced that before. He's never really been challenged man to man. And if we could do that, then I think we got a puncher's chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
But if that freshman, if he works Moore over, if Moore gets worked, and I wouldn't blame him if he did because that freshman is special.
Yeah.
We could be down 14-0 in the first quarter, we're in for a long night.
Yeah,
The way I look at it is the first quarter is key.
Yeah,
first quarter's key.
You're right.
We're tied or even ahead.
Yeah, you cannot get in a hole against this team. Notre Dame is not built to come back quickly. It's going to be a bad. We have got to drag them into the kind of fist fight we want it to be. Slow that game down. That's a big, big key. What do you think about Notre Dame offensively here? Do you think they're going to be able to put something together and sustain some drives? They're going to have to take some time off the clock, move the sticks. You're going to have to do that stuff. Are you confident in that, or do you have concerns there?
I'm not confident because, I watched that post. I was at the Penn State game, but put that to the side. I watched the video of the players coming through the tunnel after the Penn State game. And to me, I hate to even say this, but Jagasaw doesn't look healthy. He was walking I don't think he's fully back. You know what I mean? And, I think we're putting too much on that kid. To me, he didn't look healthy. He just didn't. He looked gingerly. I mean, he didn't look as hurt as Knapp, who had this gigantic boot on his foot and is clearly
everything I've been reading.
Jagasaw's not ready. To me, Jagasaw's not ready.
Everything.
This weren't the national championship game.
Everything I read is that he was cleared and was begging Freeman, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And was cleared. And that's the narrative I'm seeing is that he's ready to go. So we're going to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's cleared in the same way Mitchell Evans was cleared at the first couple games of the season, right? He's not a danger to himself. He's not, you know what I mean? You could be cleared to play and not all the way back.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. But the problem is we're running out of bodies. That's the problem. You lost. Look, you know what I mean? That's the issue. You lost another one. It's another guy in the match unit. We're running out of bodies.
No, I'll tell you right now. And look, hindsight's 20/20. But it'll go down as a pretty big blunder by the coaching staff 12 months ago not to meet Blake Fisher's number, to come back for another year and say you could play left tackle and then put yourself.
But wait.
Maybe Blake Fisher didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
I heard he did. He was just putting a number on it that was too high. I don't know.
I understood that the number out there was for him to play in the bowl game, not a number for him to return and not go to the draft. So the information I had was the number Notre Dame refused to meet was just for the bowl game. And it was a hefty number to play in a non-major bowl game. And Freeman said, no, thanks. But I don't understand that there was a number on the table for him to return and not go to the draft. Those are two different things.
Yeah, no, they are. Maybe there was no number.
Yeah.
You could have put on it.
Yeah.
But if there was a number we could use Fisher right now. I'll tell you right now, we need that guy now. I mean, there's a lot of players we could use, right? But Fisher's the one that, to me, I was always a huge fan of his, and I was sad to see him go. I thought he could be a top 10, left tackle.
Yeah.
In the pros, but whatever. But no, I think we have a puncher's chance, John. I just think that, if we lose, it's just because Ohio State has this offensive firepower all over the field. They've had 5 guys that could score every time they touch the ball. We have Love and Price.
Yeah.
That's about it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, John, thanks for taking the call.
Oh, no problem, man. Hey, we're the underdog. Lean into it, dig deep, and try and write the final chapter, man. And if we can make them play our game, then I think we have drag the game out, and you have a chance to do something at the end. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be a long weekend, man. Hey, take care, man. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Have a good one. That was relatively mild. Unexpectedly relatively mild. Oh, man. Sid Iris says, never take the ball. But here, let me flip it on you. If you lost the toss or whatever and you got the ball against Ohio State and then you go down and score a touchdown right away, are you still saying never take the ball? Right? I feel like it just depends on what you do. Is anybody going to argue? We're all saying, you can't get behind this team. You can't fall behind Ohio State or whatever. Well, if you got the ball and went down the field and you were winning 7-0 and you scored on your first drive, is everybody still saying that? I feel like it depends what you do. It depends what you do. But generally speaking, I do like the idea of playing defense first. It's the strength of the program. And I feel like it's just an easier way to ease into a football game defensively than offensively. I just believe that for some reason. It just feels that way to me. And then I like the idea that you get all of halftime to figure something out, and then you come out of the app and you make something happen. We return a kickoff for a touchdown. We take the drive and go right down the field against Penn State. Like, I just think, I understand I always want to put our defense out there first. But if you literally took the ball and went and scored, I don't think people would have a problem. But when you get the ball and then you go 3 and out and gain 3 yards in 3 plays and punt it, it's a total waste of your life. That's the problem I have, is if Notre Dame gets the ball and then you go 3 and out and you're all conservative because it's the first drive of the game and then you do nothing, it's a waste. It's a waste. My main man, Martinez, to finish us out today. What's up, baby?
Johnny, am I clear? Can you hear me, or am I down a shaft?
Halfway down a shaft, but not the worst I've ever heard.
Let me switch my phone, buddy. I'm pulling a trailer. I'm driving a truck.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're way better now. Way better now. Way better.
Hey, Johnny, first thing, man, great show on yours with Ohio Pod coming on as a guest, and great show you with Ohio Pod on his. And no disrespect to Chris, I just, with I had to start kind of like, giving him the business because, like I said, Freeman, me, like I've told people, I'm a patriot and I love this country. Like I tell people, not everywhere we get little Mexican boy to raise a little white-looking Mexican girl to go set 6 college records at 5'2", And so to me, I love this country and I love how Freeman has embodied everybody and not taking credit for himself. So I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Chris. I had to give him the business for saying that.
Hey, I appreciate all the Notre Dame people that jumped over there and gave me a little moral support on our side. It was, I really do appreciate everybody having my back.
Yeah. But to touch on subject, like you said, and to touch on what West Palm Pay, I'm going to talk about Jags. Do people don't forget that Jags is a state champion in wrestling? Like, Jags knows how to, remember, when you're wrestling, you got to wrestle one dude after another. After your next match is in half hour, an hour, a few hours, So he's not oblivious to the fact that he's got to compete right after another. So I think if Jags feels he's good, I mean, he would know, you know what I mean? And these medical experts should know. But I think Jags is going to be just fine at that position. You know what I mean? I'm coming back in.
Yeah, dude, you could argue that things work out for a reason, man. He was out before the year, had a frustrating injury, all of this rehab, and then another guy or two goes down and he comes back in. It's just really interesting to see that all come full circle at the most important time. He disappeared. See if I can get him again real quick. Do I got you back?
Johnny.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, sorry. I lost you there for a second.
Yep, you're back.
And so I mean, people have to remember that Jags, he's used to competing right after another. I think he's gonna be just fine. Also too, man, like one more thing. When we win, when are you going to give us the info of the party, and where's it going to be at? Is it going to be in the Midwest?
This is not something I'm giving a lot of thought to because I do not want to jinx myself. So I have not given any consideration at all to those details because I refuse to get ahead of myself. And listen, man, I cannot.
Okay.
I am not going to be able to exist the next few days if I am like thinking about what it would be like if we won and what that would mean for this group and my family and me personally and the business and my soul and all of us and the whole community. It's overwhelming to the point where I'm not allowing myself to think about it. So I will deal with that when it's the situation. I'm being honest. I'm blocking the thought. I can't handle it emotionally, so I'm blocking the thought. I'm being honest.
No, John. No. I threw that out there just to kind of ease the tension. I get you. But also too, you made a comment as far as like, that first quarter when the boys came out, they did look sluggish. You could tell that what they had, they moved their finals up, so they had to take the week of Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that boys had to take finals a week earlier, correct?
Yep.
And then I remember Brady Quinn or somebody talking about, man, they did it. They did that during finals week. That must have been brutal for them. Then you roll right into what? You roll right into Christmas Eve, the holiday, and then you fly from South Bend down to New Orleans, from New Orleans back to South Bend, from South Bend back to Miami in a period of 6 days. Like I've told you, when my flying schedule, that is brutal. That is brutal. And they might fly charter, they might fly in a private, or whatever the thing, but it's still exhausting. That is exhausting. I think we're going to see a different Irish team coming in with 10 days. What is it? 10 days worth of rest that we've had, or something like that.
Yeah, it's I think Notre Dame's going to come out revitalized in this game. You got through the Penn State little Georgia hangover. Now you have, what is it, 10 days or whatever to be able to rest up. Like this team's going to come out firing. I'm confident in that.
No, and I am too, man. And I think that the coach I played for, and as far as offense, I know everybody's been talking about the guy I played for used to, because we play in Utah and it's cold in November, we come the playoffs. You know what I mean? And he used to say, if we can get 4 yards every down, we got a first down every 3 downs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If we can get 4 yards every play, we got a first down every 3 downs. And if the Irish can at least get those 4 yards every play, running the ball, or throwing those little dump offs that they do, or or with the QB power, I think we're going to wear them down, man, and go toe to toe with them the way Michigan did. Michigan was able to do it, and I think we're going to do the same thing. And so with that, man, I think we can be just fine, Johnny. Like I said, 17-21. I don't bet on or against the Irish ever, but I think we're going to be just fine. I think, and like Tom Folley said, everything, whether we win or what Tom Folley said, man, we just got to go win it all to get that respect. But, these critics, these talking heads are going to say, oh, well, it was a depleted Georgia team and this and that and all these things. But we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Johnny, I got one last question for you because I know you got to go, buddy.
Sure.
And this is to light up your day. Hey, you live in Chicago, right?
I'm in the Chicago area, but not in the city. I don't want to live in the city anymore.
No, I get that. Hey, I've been watching because the politics, the everything about like the politics of the country and everything, kind of you get worn down. You're all emotional, exhausted for the games. So I've been watching like food shows, and I've seen these Chicago deep dish pizzas, but I've never had an actual Chicago deep dish pizza. How are they, man? I wanted to ask you that.
Dude,
how are they? Because they look so good.
Very, very filling.
In those videos, bro.
Yeah, dude, I can always count on Pat with the technicalities. I lived in Evanston, so right outside the city limits, and I worked. And Pat, I was in the city more than you were in the city when you lived in this city, but you always got to point it out. Working and going to school and graduate school and internship in downtown Chicago. But yes, technically I lived in the first city north of the Chicago proper, but was in downtown every day for many, many years for work and school and internship. Deep dish pizza is really, really filling, man. It's more of like a novelty thing to eat, and one slice fills me up for a whole day. It's just very, very heavy.
Yeah, man, I just want to throw that out there because I was like, we're all wound tight, we're all emotionally drained, but I'm like, I got to watch some cooking shows, man, and those look so good, man. So good. I got to get one of those. I've never had one.
Try it, man. You can order them and they'll ship them to you frozen. You can literally order one from wherever and they'll ship it to you frozen and you could try one. And you could do that just to try. I'll get you one if we win this game. How about that?
Dude, I got to do that. Johnny, man, I love you. Love the chat. Excited for Saturday, man. Saturday Night Live because that's how I spend my Saturday nights. But this game, man, like, hey, we're going to shock the world, man. Remember what he said. When the time is right, you will show the world, man. So onward, Notre Dame, buddy.
Let's go. Have a good one, buddy. Man, this is we're getting down to the wire, folks. Oh, we're getting down to the wire. What does Notre Dame have to win? Number one is you got to keep that score down from their end. That's number one. Your defense is you gotta find a way to keep that scoring down. That is my number one thing. You have got to find a way to keep that scoring down, whether that means you're getting them off the field in 3 downs or you're getting turnovers or whatever. To me, number one, you got to make sure you keep their score down and get them frustrated on offense. Number two is you got to find a way to sustain drives. Like that plays into keeping their score down. You got to find a way to sustain drives. And whatever that looks like, whatever you got to do, Riley Leonard's legs, Jeremiah, whatever it is, bullying them up front. I don't know what that looks like. But number one to me is defensively, you got to keep their scoring down, because I believe their offense is probably the best unit that's going to be on the field between both teams. You got to keep it down. And offensively, you have got to sustain drives, eat that clock, move the sticks, do all that. If you could grind that game down like that, you have a chance. So, all right, folks, that's going to be it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. We're going to do Saturday Night Live, and it should be exciting. I don't know what we're going to get, but we're almost there. We're going to do a Saturday Night Live, 8 o'clock Central. Who knows what that's going to be like? People maybe have a couple pops, call in. You never know what you're going to get. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the donations. And we'll see you guys on Saturday Night Live.